Homeless black girl won the heart of a millionaire rejected on Christmas. The millionaire was devastated after having his marriage proposal rejected. But everything changed when a homeless young woman, invisible to most, awakened feelings in him he never imagined could exist. This is a story of redemption, love, and the power of compassion. Chloe felt the cold creeping through her legs despite the layers of clothing she wore. The early evening air was sharp, cutting through the block adorned with festive Christmas lights and ornaments. From her spot leaning against the wall of a closed cafe, she watched people rush by, chatting on phones and carrying shopping bags. The sparkling ornaments in the cafe's display window brought a bittersweet smile to her face, reminding her of childhood Christmases filled with music, cookies, and warmth, a warmth that now felt distant. Despite her discomfort, Chloe's face retained a glimmer of hope, whether it was her optimistic nature or the belief that opportunities still awaited her somewhere. She held on. Occasionally, she extended an empty mug, hoping for coins or even a kind word. Snowflakes began to fall, their beauty casting an enchanting glow on the damp asphalt. For many, it was a magical scene, but for Chloe, it carried a weight of uncertainty, cold, and yearning for change. While staring into the distance, she noticed a tall, well-dressed man stepping out of an imposing building across the street. He wore a suit, his jacket open despite the biting cold, and was loosening his tie as if desperate for air. His expression was one of sadness, not fleeting melancholy but deep pain that seemed to weigh down every step he took. Chloe's heart stirred. Chloe wasn't afraid to approach strangers, especially when she saw sorrow in their eyes. As the man crossed the street distractedly, a taxi screeched to a halt, narrowly avoiding him. The driver cursed, but the man appeared numb. Impulsively, Chloe stood up, clutching her mug, and approached cautiously. "Hey, are you all right?" she asked timidly. "You seem a bit shaken." The man stopped and looked at her, his gaze lost and filled with anguish. In his hand, he held a small velvet box, which Chloe guessed was a gift or jewelry. His eyes glistened with restrained tears. He took a deep breath before replying, "No, I'm not all right." Summoning her courage, she continued, "Do you want to talk? Sometimes it helps." He hesitated, glancing around the busy street where no one else seemed to notice them. Something about Chloe's presence, despite her worn coat and the dusting of snow on her hair, felt grounding. "I'm Chloe," she said gently. "Dylan," he replied faintly, slipping the box into his pocket. For a moment, they stood in silence. Dylan's gaze softened as he noticed her kindness, contrasting with the harshness of their surroundings. "Are you out here in this cold with nowhere to go?" he asked, concerned. Chloe shrugged. "Yeah, things got tough. I lost my job, then my apartment. Shelters are full sometimes, so I end up here." Dylan felt a pang of guilt. Moments ago, his thoughts had been consumed by the humiliation of a rejected proposal, but now he faced a reality far harsher than his own. "And yet you seem so calm. How do you do it?" he asked, genuinely intrigued. Chloe straightened her shoulders. "I don't have much choice. Hope gets me through. And Christmas lights, they remind me of better times. Sometimes, that's all you need." Dylan's hand rested on the velvet box in his pocket. His mind flashed to Grace, the woman who had thrown the ring back at him, humiliating him in front of her friends. "I suppose you're right," he muttered. "Life can be cruel, but we have to cling to something." Their conversation was interrupted by a stocky security guard from a nearby store. "You, girl, move along. You can't loiter here," he barked. Chloe stepped back, used to such treatment. But this time, Dylan intervened. "Excuse me, but she's not bothering anyone. We're just talking," he said firmly. The guard scoffed. "Sir, she's begging. Drives customers away." Dylan frowned. "There's no excuse for treating someone like this." Chloe gently tugged at Dylan's sleeve. "Don't worry about it. I'll leave." "No, you're not going anywhere because of him," Dylan insisted. The tension mounted until another store employee called the guard back inside. Chloe's hands trembled, and Dylan exhaled deeply. "Let's find somewhere warm," he said, opening his wallet. "Come with me. You deserve better." Chloe hesitated, overwhelmed by his kindness. I appreciate it, but I can't accept that. I insist. You've already helped me more than you know, he replied. Reluctantly, she agreed, and they walked side by side under the twinkling Christmas lights. Dylan led her to a modest hotel, where the warmth of the lobby made Chloe shiver with relief. The receptionist eyed them curiously, but Dylan ignored it, booking a room for her. As Chloe settled into the simple but comfortable room, she turned to Dylan. I don't know how to thank you. There's no need. You've reminded me that there's still kindness in the world, he said. That night, as Chloe took her first hot shower in weeks, she felt a sense of renewal. Meanwhile, Dylan sat in the hallway, his mind racing with thoughts of Grace and his own failures. Yet, for the first time in days, he felt a glimmer of hope. The following morning, Chloe joined Dylan for breakfast in the hotel's modest dining area. They spoke about their lives, their struggles, and their dreams. Despite their different worlds, they found common ground in their desire to rebuild. Over the next few days, Dylan helped Chloe find clothes and essentials, while Chloe encouraged Dylan to reconsider his priorities. When Dylan's boss demanded he reconcile with Grace to secure a lucrative deal, he faced an impossible choice. Grace, arrogant and manipulative, only sought to use him for status. Chloe, on the other hand, represented authenticity and hope. In a moment of defiance, Dylan rejected his boss's ultimatum. I'd rather lose everything than betray who I am, he declared. Fired and humiliated, Dylan returned to Chloe, who feared she was to blame. This isn't your fault, he assured her. If anything, you've given me the courage to start over. Together, they brainstormed a new path, a consulting business focused on helping small businesses thrive without exploitation. With Chloe's grounded perspective and Dylan's corporate experience, they crafted a plan that resonated with local entrepreneurs. At a Christmas event to pitch their idea, Grace and Dylan's former boss tried to sabotage them, revealing Chloe's past homelessness to discredit her. But Chloe stood tall. I may not have a prestigious background, but I understand struggle, and I know how to help others overcome it, she said. The audience applauded, rejecting Grace's cruelty. Investors rallied behind Dylan and Chloe, impressed by their vision and resilience. By the evening's end, they had secured partnerships and a renewed sense of purpose. As snow fell softly outside, Dylan and Chloe stood by a glowing Christmas tree. From his pocket, Dylan pulled out the velvet box he once dreaded seeing. I was going to return this, but now I know it was meant for someone who truly matters, he said. This isn't a proposal, but a promise to build a future together. Tears welled in Chloe's eyes as she accepted the ring, overwhelmed by his sincerity. Under the Christmas lights, they shared a quiet kiss, knowing they had found something rare, a love forged through hardship and hope. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of resilience and love.